Hey there, this is Steve Reed from the Real Wealth Project. Welcome to the 3-Minute Quick Bite Show. 7 days a week, talking about freedom, building a lifestyle business, personal happiness, productivity, passion, and living your dream life. Hi, how are you going? I'm doing a quick and dirty podcast for you today. I'm in the studio on my iPhone. I'm going to see what this turns out like quality-wise. I'll clean it up a little bit. Bit of practice there always helps. I want to talk to you briefly about goals and why goals suck. Well, at least I think they do. Wonder how many times you've set a goal and not managed to achieve it. It's time of year really, isn't it? January, New Year's resolutions, going to lose some weight, going to get fit, going to be doing all these wonderful things, and you can bet your bottom dollar by February or even by the middle of January, 99.9% of people will have fallen off the wagon and will not be achieving anything that they planned. And so I thought I'd wonder, what is it about goal setting that seems to screw with our minds? It certainly has for me. I've tried to set all sorts of goals in the past. I've had all sorts of plans, and I think there's certainly some evidence out there that our ability to stick with something, our willpower, has a sort of finite life to it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get any more, but we all have willpower in a certain amount, and you kind of wear it out, and then it's gone, and you have to kind of work about building it up again. So I read a couple of books in the last 6 months or so, and they were about goals and aspirations and passion, etc. And I really came to realize that for me personally, and maybe for you too, setting goals is a bad idea. Ever since I realized that, and I decided that I was just going to work purely on doing the things that I love to do, the things that lit me up inside, the things that I would get up for in the morning to do without anybody telling me to, I found things got a whole lot easier and life got a whole lot more pleasurable. So what I've really found, and I really wanted to share this with you, is the idea of, rather than setting specific goals relating to where you want your business to be, where you want your fitness goals to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, what I've started to do, and particularly this is relevant to business, is I've set myself a lofty goal, a dream goal, where I would like to be, how I would like my life to look in 3 to 5 years' time. Because when you're talking about business, the whole idea of get rich quick, suddenly exploding onto the scene with virtually no work, it's just a fallacy, really. So I'm looking that in 5 years' time, I want to be financially independent, want to be earning a good income, want to be location independent, money to do what I want. Certainly money not being an issue. I'm not a materialistic person particularly, but I want to be able to holiday. I want to be able to experience the world, help my kids, give my wife a great experience in life, etc. But I'm not actually setting short and medium and long-term goals rigidly. What I'm doing is actually setting myself some trigger activities, trigger actions that I take every day to work towards a predefined, it is a goal, but once I've thought about the goal, I pretty much forget it. Here's an example for you. I think it might be useful. I became a best-selling author on Amazon a few months back, and still continuing to write books. I've written 5 so far for Kindle, and I've got another 2 in the process now. The plan was to write a book every month or two. And we're talking fairly short books, 20 to 30,000 words, fairly typical for non-fiction. And the idea of, oh my God, I've got 30,000 words to write and it's day one, just didn't really work for me. It always felt like it was a really big hill to climb. The light at the end of the tunnel just wasn't there. So what I did was thought about, where do I like to be? Where might I be able to work efficiently, because I know that when I'm at home most of the time, I just can't write. Something else comes up, there's something going on the news, as there is today, and the internet's there, and so I tend to not make the progress as I hope to. But what I did realise is I work very, very well in cafes. I drink tea or coffee, and the times that I had taken my laptop down to the cafe, I got some really good success. I was really productive, still chatted to people every now and then, but I got the work done. So what I set up is a really simple trigger activity, a habit that as soon as I start doing it, I know that the ensuing time will be very productive. So for me, that trigger is in the morning at about 9:15. I put my laptop into my bag and I go to the car. And as soon as I'm out the door and I've locked the front door, I know that I'm going to be in the car, I'm going to be in town, I'm going to be in the cafe, and I'm going to be writing. And I know that come 11:30, when I come home, there'll be 1,500 to 2,000 words written. And I can do that comfortably 5 days a week. In fact, I could do it 7, but I choose not to. So if we're thinking a couple of thousand words a day, I can have that 30,000 words written in a few weeks. I've forgotten about the 30,000 word goal, and I've just focused on individual activities which I do each day. And at the end of the period, my draft is complete without thinking about that massive mountain of a task to climb. I've used this in another aspect of my life as well, which is regarding my exercise. Because I'm quite busy these days with writing and with trying to build a podcast and building an online business, it's very easy to put my exercise and training on the back burner. And beginning of this year, I was around 10% body fat and I was pretty lean and pretty toned and looking good for a guy in his mid-40s. And now at the beginning of January, so I'm talking about a year ago, now at the beginning of January 2015, I'm not looking quite so trim. But what I realised is I love listening to podcasts. And my trigger action to get myself out into this little gym of mine 3 times a week is I choose a podcast on my phone. I download it so that it can be played when I'm away from my Wi-Fi area. And I put my shorts and my shoes on. That action ensures that I come outside, I connect my phone to the external speaker I've got out here. I put my podcast on, I start it playing, and I will do my training. I've got a goal of lifting 2.5 times body weight for a deadlift, which for me would be around 200 kilos, which is 420 pounds, something like that. And I always had that goal. And what I've decided now is forget it. All I'm going to focus on is getting out here every day, or should I say 3 times a week. And just doing that, forgetting about that lofty goal, I will get stronger. And as long as I'm increasing my poundage on a by-session basis, or as much as I possibly can, I will get there or very close. Again, it's another thing worth thinking about with anything that you do is, can you set a trigger activity or a trigger habit that takes you towards that goal, be it a month away, 6 months away, but without always having it on your mind. And I wanted to share that with you because I found it really, really powerful. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any such triggers that work for you. Additionally, you can always email me at steve@realwealthproject.com and ask me. We can maybe do some brainstorming, find a trigger that will work for you, something that you can put in place which would make you do the things you need to do each day. Anyway, that's it. It's a real short one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Thanks for listening. I've been your host, Steve Reed. You've been listening to the Real Wealth Project 3-Minute Quick Bite Show. Visit www.realwealthproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe at iTunes. If you can leave a review if you like this show, that would be magnificent. Speak to you soon.